It's showtime.
It is. Welcome to Speaking Business TV. Maria, how are you doing this week?
Well, I'm very good, and I'm brightly coloured, and there's a reason for it this week. But I'm very good. Thank you very much indeed. I have to apologise to everybody last week. I meant to press the remove speaker button, and instead I pressed the end broadcast button. Don't know if anyone noticed, and therefore you missed out on the tool of the week. So you can have two tools this week, one from me and one from our guest. Even though I was the tool last week, wasn't I, James?
No, you're never. You always come up with great stuff. And this week, the reason we should probably explain, Maria, to everyone, the reason that we're kind of dressed up a little bit more fancy than normal, I guess, is we're talking about how to dress for speaking success. And we're joined by a wonderful, wonderful speaker today. First time I've had a chance to meet her. Maria, I know you've worked with her for a while, Kay Korsh. And Kay has been helping people refine their style for nearly 2 decades and has worked with some amazing personalities along the way, including actors like Lily James, Elizabeth Debicki, Riz Ahmet, who I'm a huge fan of, Ben Whishaw, F1 racing driver Jenson Button, and musician Will Young. She founded Mind Over Fashion 18 months ago, and her main priority is to tune into her clients' needs and to gently elevate their existing style to make them feel comfortable and presentable according to their brand and lifestyle. Her approach is candid and compassionate, as we're about to find out. So, Kay, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Kay. It's wonderful to have you here. So Kay and I, as you said, James, have been working together for over a year, actually. I realise it's over a year, but we only met in person. She's been working with me virtually. We met in person on Friday, and I was super prepared for my wardrobe session with Kay. I had emptied my wardrobe of stuff, and she still emptied it further. But I have more things to wear, and I actually have a section now for online virtual, and I'm wearing one of the tops that was approved.
Nice.
Look how you match together with James today. That's brilliant.
I know. So let's get cracking. So James, where do you want to start?
Well, so this is a fascinating topic. In fact, I feel like I'm maybe going to talk a little bit less, because I know it's last week. I talked a lot last week. So Maria, I'm going to have you kind of really be the guide for our audience this week, because I told my wife like what this topic was this week, and my wife really watches these shows, but she said, I'm going to watch this one because of the topic that we're covering with Kay. So Kay, we're talking about how to really kind of dress for speaking success. So first of all, I would love a little bit more about your background, and then talk about how can we dress for our brands.
So the background is, so as you said, I've been dressing celebrities for editorials, and I've been working with brands, and I just always felt that high fashion thing is superficial and kind of not exactly where I want to end up, and they wanted to help real people. So that's why I started Mind Over Fashion, and the name has mind in it because I'm always interested in how our minds work and why we do things the way we do them. And so when I talk to my clients about how they can dress for the industry, and today we obviously talk to speakers mainly, I came up with this acronym CEO, and I'll show you. I don't actually know if it's going to be mirror image when I write. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do the you see if I can.
No. We see now it's backwards for us.
Yeah,
it's actually backwards.
Is this backwards?
Okay. Yes, for us it's backwards.
Is this correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, it's just backwards.
The wonders of technology.
Oh, CEO. Oh, so C stands for comfort, and that's where I talk about you. So I talk about your physical comfort and your emotional comfort. And E is when we take it out into the world, and we talk about E stands for equal. So it's does your style equal to your story and your brand? Is it aligned with your story and your brand? so that others understand you as well. And then O stands for occasions, and that's where we talk about different occasions in which you have to speak. So when I talk about comfort, things which I ask people is like, what kind of fabrics do you like? Do you like natural fibers or do you like synthetic fabrics? Have you got any allergies? If you've got allergies, probably natural fibers are better for you. Do you like ironing or dry cleaning? Yeah, Maria is shaking her head, and I know. So maybe in that case, it's better to have synthetic mix in it so it doesn't crease as much. So it's easier to look after. You don't have to spend as much time. And also, actually, you don't have to worry when you speak, especially, you know, those like cleaning things when you sit down and then you stand up. And then if you're presenting full length, that's not the best idea, probably. And what else? Yeah, so these are things which I ask generally when we talk about physical comfort. And emotional comfort is, what kind of dresser are you? Do you dress for practical reasons, or do you express yourself through clothes? You know, if you are more flamboyant, more outgoing, you can still come up with your style, and it can still work. So both of these things can work, but you kind of need to bring to your conscious what it is. So this is comfort. And then when I talk about equal, so when your style equals your story and your brand, I ask a question: what train of thought does your audience have when they look at you and when they listen to you? So, for example, Tom Morley, who you had a couple of weeks ago, and Maria, I don't know if you can put up, we had the technical difficulty before, so I couldn't share my screen.
Let me have a go. Let's see, just in case, if anybody's forgotten.
Tom has a very identifiable style as well.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched this show with Tom, you have to go back and watch it, because I started watching it just to check it out, and I ended up watching the whole thing, and I thought it was hilarious. But talking about Tom, so when I listen to Tom, or somebody would introduce him, for example, before his speech, they would probably say things like that he's a drummer, he's a rock musician. And when I look at Tom, I see all of those things. So I see the dreadlocks, I see the wings on his jacket. So he is a very clear, I have complete connection between what I see and what I hear. So this is what I mean when I talk about this train of thought and connection. So just always double checking so there is no disconnect between the way you look and what people expect of you.
So there's an alignment there that feels like there's an integrity. The whole package kind of hangs together.
Yeah. So all of these things I talk about is basically, the main message is to close the time gap between somebody looking at you and listening to the message you are delivering. So it's basically, I use style as a tool, as one of the tools in your toolbox. Like the other tools you use in your speech, this is one of the tools to help you deliver your speech and for people to digest it and absorb it. So it will help people if their brain catches up faster when they see you and when they hear you. And then occasion is when we look at different audiences you speak for. Maria, by the way, you can probably stop sharing for now.
I'm trying. And now it all goes to pot again. There you go. You're back. Thank you.
Yeah. So different occasions. So say for example, it would be corporate world and like sporty people or youth, different things like this. I always say, don't try to have like 3-4 completely different wardrobes, because it will just be overwhelming. Instead, what you can do is you can always ask the event organizers if there is a dress code. If there is no strict dress code, maybe ask some questions what other people are likely to wear, what kind of audience is going to be. And you can just slightly tweak what you wear just to be respectful, but you still want to stay true to yourself and to your story. So you are coming to talk about your world. Yeah, so your visual image is part of that story, part of that world. So, for example, in Tom's case, he could, if he wanted to tone it down, he could put his dreadlocks in a ponytail, and maybe he could wear a plain black jacket, but he could still have the collar standing up. And that way he still has part of his personality coming through. Or what I noticed, for example, with you, James, when you deliver your podcasts, you are just wearing a black t-shirt and you're sitting on the sofa. So you have those different islands of your style formula, depending on what you do. So people, it's like a routine, yeah? So people know what to expect. So it makes it easier for people to absorb. So when you're in your t-shirt on a sofa, you're more approachable, more relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we even have a brand. I know here we have a brand guide which actually sets out my kind of outfits almost. So
Wow.
And if you look at any of the photography that I do, there's usually three types. As you mentioned, there's the black and white, which is supposed to be because those are broader audience ones for things I'm filming for, because it's YouTube. There's things like this, which is kind of in the middle. And then when I present on stage, I'm using my Britishness a lot. So I'll go for, Savile Row suits, more traditional, a lot, because for two reasons. One is that how it makes me feel, because you kind of spoke about this, like comfort. Like some people that would be like really uncomfortable to wear that kind of thing on stage. For me, that feels really comfortable, and it gives a little bit of armor around me as well. That's because I'm using it a little bit as a defensive thing, but also it kind of ties in with my personal brand, which is around the tailoring thing as well. So but you can have fun with it. So Maria, I would love to know, what advice did Kay give you when you met up? I've got to have to know about this.
Oh my goodness, I've had lots of advice. What's really fascinating when you listen to Kay, we're going off piece with our questions, Kay, because it's just too exciting as a topic. What was really fascinating is that Kay really studies you before you even met her. So she did an online audit of me, and she was telling me all sorts of things about myself that I didn't know. I've got to get some new glasses, but she advised me that this was the better shape of the ones that I already had. She advised me on makeup. I changed my makeup because of Kay, and my man said to me, "What have you done? You look younger." And I'm actually wearing less makeup than I used to, but it's different colors. Yeah. So much she can help you with your makeup too, James.
I'm not wearing any makeup today because I knew that I was coming on this. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get a little bit of feedback as well.
Brilliant. And also she helped me with my necklines, because I was told, because I'm, okay, we're going streaming live, but people who know me, I'm quite large in the bust department. So I was always told to wear a lower V so that you look slimmer, you see. But Kay was saying, no, you actually need a higher neckline, and it's much more flattering for you to have a higher neck. And I didn't, anyway. But there's a couple of messages for people who are your fans, Kay, who are listening in. So I know that Tom Lichting recently had a session with you. Tom's pretty cool looking guy actually already, I think. I'm sure you didn't have too much to do there. And he had a personal session. And then Penny Pullen had a session. She needed a session because she shrank. She literally shrank before our eyes, looking fabulous. So she had her wardrobe sorted out, and she's just done a virtual keynote for hundreds of people to rave reviews in a bright orange jacket you chose for her. Isn't that lovely? But I
loved Penny. I loved working with Penny.
They're all wonderful people. But what I needed you desperately, because I've actually gone up a size in Corona. And the first thing Kay said to me was, take all the stuff that doesn't fit out. You don't have to throw it out, but remove it, so that now when you go to your wardrobe, everything you have fits and works and you don't feel bad. So let's see. Anyway, let's come back to our questions. So you're saying, should we dress for our brand then? Should we wear our brand colors, or do we dress for our brand meaning?
So when we talk about colors, the first thing always which you need to think about, does this color work for my complexion? And then you think about how to incorporate it with your brand colors. So where do you have your brand colors? It can be a book which just came out. It can be your homepage on your website. So if you, for example, know that you're doing a photo shoot where you're going to use the pictures for your website or your book cover, first think, okay, which colors work for me, for my complexion, and then think, which colors will work next to the color on my homepage or next to the color on my book. Yeah, so for example, James, the homepage, again, it is
Can we
in my
share the screen?
yeah.
Let me share. Bear with me because it's all a bit clunky.
I'll talk while you're trying to.
So we're gonna get Tom again while I scroll down. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
So this is a really good example. So James, you are using this bright red as the kind of main color which comes through.
That's right.
This color would drown you. You would not look good if you were wearing that particular color. But what you did, you chose this very, very pale pink in your tie and in your pocket square, which supports, I don't know whether you did it consciously or subconsciously, but it supports this red color. So it works all together. Yeah. Normally a good way of thinking about it is that opposite colors work well. So if you have a color wheel, which actually I was going to bring in and I forgot, but on color wheel, just look at opposite colors. You can just Google color wheel, lots of pictures will come up. And just look at opposite colors, or like colors which are in a triangle next to each other. But normally, if you work obviously with the photographer for a photo shoot or with the stylist, normally people who do lots of imagery as their job, they would know it's going to be easy for them to help you with that. So this is basically my main answer. But I did have clients in the past where, for example, she would have purple as her brand color, and then she would just wear purple. And I do not recommend this because it also becomes quite boring. Like, say, even if in the case that purple does work, it's just boring to just use the same color. Like, again, if you think about when you speak, you prepare your speech, you use different tools like metaphors, stories, maybe bringing some, things you're going to use, props. So you're trying to make it as colorful and as interesting and interactive as possible. So do the same with your wardrobe.
But I noticed on your website, and I can see you just now, maybe if we bring back to Kay, as much as I love looking at pictures of myself, I'd much rather look at you and Maria and Kay just now. So Kay, you've got red hair, actually like my wife. And I'm noticing, I looked on your website, you're using a lot of kind of autumnal colors, greens, browns, like country colors. So that was that combination that kind of works pretty well if you're kind of lighter skinned and red hair.
It works for me. It doesn't mean it will work for all women or all people with red hair, because it depends on your undertone. Like we're getting technical here. But
so tell me about what is the undertone?
So the majority of people have either warm undertone or cool undertone, and if I'm just looking at both of you have cool undertone. I can't always say it straight away, but because I saw a few pictures of you, James, and I obviously saw Maria's wardrobe, so I know. For me, if I wear a cool color, it just kills me. And actually, Maria, there's another picture which you can bring up, which has the one with you on.
Oh, the one with me on. Okie dokie.
Because it's a really good example of like how many variations of one color. So say, for example, if your brand color is, if your brand logo is green, right? And you're like, okay, should I wear green? But then what kind of green are you going to wear? Because as you can see on the side, all of these are green, but they're so different. So Maria, for example, works really well in turquoise, light mint color. So they're kind of bright and light. But if you look at me, I would not look good in mint and turquoise at all. So for me, muted and warm greens, so like maybe like mossy or olive, like what I'm wearing today, those work much better. So again, that kind of brings us to the point, should I wear the same color as my brand color? Probably, like, there is more to it. basically.
Yeah. And so something I'm always wondered about is, like, today I'm wearing this color here. It ties in very well with Maria. Looks good.
It looks like we planned it, doesn't it? It does look
Yeah,
like
I'm almost a little bit jealous of my female speaker friends, because they get to be much more, I feel like, adventure. They can do more in some ways, which I know can be a pain, but it is also for us guys. I always feel like we're slightly more constricted, and especially like we're doing a lot of presenting here, like, you know, it's basically waist above. So I kind of like find I just end up having to use like different pockets. So tell me, Kay, you know, like, it's, if I was to go out, I'm working with a client and their corporate color, let's say, is a yellow, and I say, do I want to go and use their corporate color, like in my thing, or do I want to stay with maybe my corporate color? Like, where should I be going? Should I be trying to serve the client, the customer, or should I be trying to serve myself, my own brand?
First of all, think what color suits you. So yellow does not suit you. This particular yellow, because it's very warm. So there is what you could try is like a lemony yellow, like very light sort of lemony, could work potentially. Another thing that yellow and blue really reminds me of the flag of Ukraine. So that's my first association. I'm from Ukraine.
Or Ryanair as well. That's the other one.
Ryanair,
yeah.
But talking about so I think this looks good, what you have now. I think your client is not gonna be like, ooh, he respects us, he's wearing our corporate color. I really don't think that's gonna be on their mind at all. So, but subconsciously, if you wear that yellow, somewhere not aware of that, there will be some sort of block for them. Yeah, I think you're doing great with what I can see now.
So let's say you've got a new client, Kay. They come to you and they ask you to help them put an entire outfit together. Where do you start? So you mentioned, like, working with Maria, you kind of first looked at like colors. Maybe just even talk, maybe Maria, I don't know whether you want to open the kimono to kind of tell us a little bit about what that experience was like in terms of colors, the kimono.
The kimono. Oh dear, it's interesting because I've never sort of followed fashion and followed style. I've always tried to follow what I thought suited me, but what I thought suited me wasn't necessarily the right thing to be wearing. Certainly as you get a bit older, you need to sort of be, you know, dress a bit differently. So Kay has moved me away from some of my favorite shapes, actually, and she's also trying to move me away from my dark colors, but she allows me to wear my dark colors as long as I've got one of my flattering colors with it, so it's not so bad, so I don't have to throw everything out. But what was really interesting to me with the experience, and I'm sure Penny will agree, she had the same experience, is how many things that I would never have put together, that Kay put together, that I didn't see. And in fact, I'm waiting for the photos, actually, Kay, so I can stick them in my wardrobe. Looking forward to those. But also, I bought a jacket. I've digressed. I bought a jacket that I loved online, and I said to Kay, "Look, I've got this jacket, and I've never worn it because I don't know how to wear it, and I'm thinking of giving it away." And you got very excited because you said, "Oh, it's very Vivienne Westwood." And she put an outfit together for me, and I went downstairs, showed my man, and he said, "Wow!" And it was stuff I had. It was just, I didn't know how to combine it. What was the question?
No, I was just saying, the process. So she worked with you, obviously, Kay, you worked with Maria on kind of colors, right, finding the right palette, tonal palette for her. When it came to like shapes and outfits and items and how you put them together and how many things you should have in that kind of wardrobe, that can talk us through the process.
Yeah, so without going into shapes, because that's more individual per person, so that's a longer conversation. But the main thing, especially for people who need to present either online or in person, hopefully, is I normally make this connection between building a sentence and building an outfit. When you are building a sentence, you are using punctuation to help people understand the sentence faster, to digest it faster so they can start thinking about it. And you've got your main noun, and then you've got the adjective which supports that noun. So these are like different elements, and that's the same what I'm trying to explain with an outfit. So for example, as one of the main rules is use as few accents per outfit as possible, because more you use, more of these accents you use, more details you use, it becomes kind of overwhelming. So you jump, like when somebody's looking at you, they start jumping from one thing to another. So
do you say accent? Does that mean items like a piece of jewelry or a pocket square or something? That's an accent.
Yeah, well, generally, to help you understand, this accent is something when you squint, that's what comes up for you. So if you squint, so if I squint and look at you, I see white shirt and I see the pink pocket square. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for example, today I'm wearing just one plain shirt. Also, on online, you've got to consider the background. I normally prefer just normal live backgrounds because I'm kind of inviting people in my own world. So, so you've got one accent there, you've got the plant. So it's enough just to have this shirt. But I brought some props. So I'm going to show you how it could pan out. So say, for example, I was like, but, I really want to make it more interesting. So I want to add a necklace, So I would be like, okay, so I'm going to put a necklace on as well. So that still works because, the colors are really nice and everything. So I've got another thing. And then I would be like, you know what, I'm in a creative industry. And, I've got this red curly hair. How about if I put this... hairband on like in the 70s or something, and then that adds to it as well. So there's another element for you to see, and then I will be like, I also want to wear these earrings. I don't know if you can see now.
Yeah,
nice earrings. Nice earrings.
Yeah. So my holes are grown.
Gone.
But okay. So before I take it off, like. What's your expression? So what's your feeling? Like now you kind of have to jump from one thing to another.
You're making me work.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like more elements you've got in your outfit, you kind of the viewer has to like jump over the hurdles and to kind of get with their brain to get to what you're talking about. So I would always go less rather than more. And again, especially on screen, just something very simple to have is enough. So
in terms of like certain designers, I mean, you're in East London. You have some East London's like traditionally is the place where loads of designers came into. You've got all those really cool Shoreditch, all those kind of cool areas around there as well. Is it worth like actually just trying to find a designer that you feel that you can kind of, you feel that you have there's a sympathy with your brand and their brand? I'm just thinking in terms of, there's a great speaker in Boston in America called Tamsin Webster, and she just found that Diane von Furstenberg, that's her girl. Like everything that she wears as Diane von Furstenberg seems to work. So, if we were trying to like simplify things for ourselves, is it worth like just trying to find a designer that we can work for, or is it more complicated than that?
It's definitely worth finding your brands, because each brand has their own cut. So Maria, actually, that's what discussed with Maria. She found her brand, which works. The cut works really well, and she likes the styles. So I think each of us has not all of us, but like, I don't know, like I've got a couple of my favorite brands, which I really like, so like this one, it's like very natural fiber and I love texture, so that works for me. So I think that comes with experience. So when you start looking at the other things I was talking about, then you go and try brands, and then hopefully you find a brand where you're happy with the cut. But one other thing which I wanted to say about cuts actually is that we all have different shapes. So, and it doesn't matter if we shop high-end designers or high street, there is a big chance that you've got to alter things. So like maybe make the trousers shorter or cinch in the waist or the sleeve shorter. So when you put your budget aside for clothes, just take it as a given, as a norm that you are going to have to alter some things rather than as a luxury. Because even I think with your favorite designers, you might have to do that anyway.
Yeah,
really good advice, and
Great.
not throw it out. Yeah. So you had a couple of other images, and we've gone off piste on the questions. What did you want to show the images and talk about them?
Yeah. So there is
let me do my share. Hang on, bear with me. Technical. Okay. Oh, look.
Yeah. So this is when
I
was talking about the accents in the outfit. So you've done it really well. So the first week you had your darker background. So you had your black t-shirt and dark blazer. And then you have your accent as a pocket square. So you've got your one accent, and that works really well. And then the next week you were like, okay, I want to wear a white shirt. So what sort of pocket square? So you matched the pocket square with the blazer. So that way it's very minimal. You've got your one accent, and that also works. Change it.
Yep.
And it still works when you have two, like it's not, you're not going overboard, but I'm just saying more you have, harder people have to work. Like this person on the left, where they have different pattern on the tie and different pattern on the pocket square, my eyes keep jumping from one to another. So I'd rather he just had one of those two things.
Yeah, super.
But sorry, go on.
No, and I was going to say on that question. So I'm seeing kind of those shots there. Like one is like the t-shirt, really cheap, relatively cheap. Shirt, not cheap because it's like made in like a Savile Row. Can you talk about like quality as well? Because often when we think of like clothing, it can be quite an expensive game. As we're getting into clothing. And especially if you're a speaker, you're traveling all the time, you're on planes, you're throwing things into suitcases, things get easy to get crushed in terms of materials as well. What's your kind of take on in terms of quality?
So in terms of what you said about traveling and throwing things in the suitcase, that's when the practicality comes in, when you might want to use synthetic mixes. So it's actually easier to look after them. But in terms of the price points, I think it's important that you will be able to see if the garment is very cheaply made. So I'd rather not go for the cheapest, and you don't have to go for the most expensive. You can still find something on the high street. Generally, when I shop for people, it's maybe like a higher point of high street. So it's in between. I don't go for like big designer things.
You've worked with a lot of very kind of famous actors, musicians as well. I'm wondering, like, is there an opportunity here to also support new creative, new designers, new whether it's milliners or people that are making suits or dresses? Like, how could we maybe find like young designers that are just coming through in order to kind of showcase their work and also support them as well?
Well, there is a very good website called Not Just a Label, and they have lots of new designers, actually international designers on there. And I generally, I would say the important thing, the problem you might experience with very new designers is that they go for creativity versus quality. So you would see amazing creative ideas, but the quality of implementation won't be as good. It's not always the case. Sometimes I see if it's a new brand which positions themselves as commercial new brand, they can have amazing quality and artisan, fantastic, the way the things are constructed. But if it's like a creative, like, amazing British new creative designers which come out of London College of Fashion and St. Martin's, they quite often would have incredible creative designs, but they might not be as amazing in quality. And obviously not everybody, but that's what I can tell from my experience.
You want something to be able to stand up if you're getting after plane after plane after plane, like when we're traveling again, it's not going to be completely destroyed by the second speech that you give.
And also just the stitching, like sometimes it's so important how things are just connected. Like when you look at something, like sometimes I'm going into detail now, but like
no, this is what we like. We like the detail here.
So, for example, now there is a trend, and I'm talking more about high street item. For women, they have those T-shirts where you would have front in silk and then back in jersey. And probably when women who are listening now, they can probably imagine what I'm talking about. And it's great in theory, and sometimes it's really well made. But sometimes I see there is so much disconnect between the fabric. Like the color is slightly off, like the stitching is slightly off, and then you just look at it and it's like, no, it's not good. So obviously I'm fussy because I see clothes all the time, but that's things to look out for is how is it made, like you don't have to go for the most expensive, but just check the quality of the garment.
Maria, I'm interested to know, after you work with Kay, how do you feel wearing this, the clothes that you've got now and the combinations? What does it do to you in terms of your confidence and your feeling?
Okay, so I've always wanted to have a stylist, and I thought it would be ridiculously out of my price range. And actually, I met Kay and I thought this is doable. And in fact, she stopped me making a lot of purchasing mistakes. I did have to purchase stuff to replenish my wardrobe, but I can now go to my wardrobe because she's reorganized my wardrobe for me. So now if I'm online, I've got my online clothes. If I'm going out, so I went out for dinner on Sunday, normally it's like, oh, I haven't got a thing to wear. Instead, I've got my going out outfits. And then I've got my staying at home outfits because she doesn't want anybody to see me in them apart from people at home and the dogs. but I didn't want to throw them out because I am always comfort over form. I like to be comfortable. And then I've got, and it also, the other thing I didn't realize how badly certain clothes fitted me. I thought they fitted great and they were great because I was like, the label is an important, expensive label and it's a really beautifully made jacket. And yet Kay was saying to me, look, it's not the right cut for you because it's very baggy up here. And it's and so she changed some of the stuff. So I highly recommend that if you've not had a stylist and you thought it was out of your reach, talk to Kay, because also it's tax deductible as a speaker. The clothes aren't. And the first time I thought about it was when I saw some of the celebrities we worked with who put it as part of their rider, that they would have to bring their stylist and that the client would have to buy them an outfit for the event and the stylist would choose it. Now, when you get to that level, speakers out there, I think you should have that in your rider. You should have Kay in your rider, organizing out. But before we're sort of rapidly running out of time and there's stuff to go, I've got to share this last slide you've got, and then we've got to go to questions because I can't. But I've just looked at it ahead, Kay, and I can't believe I can't believe what I've just seen. So you have to explain yourself. What on earth is this slide about?
So this is one of, and like another thing when you think about those commas in a sentence, where you put them. So break your outfit up in as few places as possible. And that applies more to speaking live when people can see you full length. And obviously these are very extreme examples, but look at this guy. So here, how many times did he break? So I'm talking about horizontal lines. How many times did he break himself? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And the lady the same, like she's got high boots. So it's like 1, then this dress 2, belt 3, and then the shoulder line 4. So obviously very extreme. If I bring this to, you can stop sharing, Maria.
Yeah, because that's what not to do, by the way, James.
That's gonna, in my head now, I've got that image of that guy with the shorts. So I'm gonna have to get rid of that somehow.
Yeah, but that's what not to do, James. Do not do that next week.
Do not do that.
Next week, you're going to see me with shorts.
I've got to watch that. Anyway, so when I bring this to real life example, it could be for a guy if he decides to wear a suit and then he wants to bring something extra special. So he decides to buy this amazing belt, like artisan crafted in fantastic colors, and he's got matching shoes. So if he puts this belt on, it's gonna break it up, and it's gonna bring again, like, people will not know where to look. So if he's wearing both shoes and the belt, they're gonna be like looking back and forth, back and forth. So just ditch the belt, keep the shoes, and the shoes are gonna be the focal point, the accent, which people are gonna be talking about. It's gonna be the conversation starter, right? And that's gonna achieve what he wanted to achieve. So you don't need the belt as well. And for women, a lot of the times what I see is when a woman wears boots, high boots, and then a dress which is a bit shorter, and then there is this bit of skin of the legs. And what happens is that you break it again in few places. So I'd much rather there was just maybe a pair of tights to tie it up, tights of the same color with the boots. There is actually, I don't know, we probably don't have time. On the green slide, there is a very good example of Meghan Markle. I don't know if you can very quickly.
Was that suit? Was that, I was looking at that suit. Was that her? A beautiful
on
suit.
the left. So
hang on. I'm sorry. Sorry. Close your eyes.
Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, so
fabulous.
So what can we see there? There is one color of the top and the skirt, and then she's got skin color shoes. So if she had black shoes on, it would be much heavier. She would be breaking her outfit in more places. But instead, it flows really nicely. So your eye is kind of like, it's a pleasure to look at.
Okay, listen, while we're looking, because we're going to run out of time, because I could talk to you all day, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share. We have had one of our speakers has asked for feedback. He's about to do his show reel, and he wants us to give him feedback on what he would normally wear. This is Maher Mezer, a brilliant innovation speaker. Let's see if I can bring the photo up. And I don't know if you'll be able to see from this photo, but this is what he would normally wear. So what can you tell us?
I think it's really good. I like that the shoes and the trousers are the same color. So we've got that flow going on, and then the blazer is a different color, but it works. So blue and black works fine. I think it's a big myth about combining navy and black. A lot of people think that it's a no, but actually you can do that. I guess it depends on the fabrics and the more technicalities, but in general, you can combine navy and black. And then he's just got a shirt on, so we can see that things fit him properly. He's got the right sleeve length. He's got the right the shoulders in the right place. So what I'm looking at, there are not many additional unnecessary lines there. So it all works together for me.
Oh, he's going to be so happy about that. That's wonderful. So super. And if there are any other questions, let me see if I can stop sharing. We're happy to take them. But I suppose, gosh, I can't believe we have run out of time. So we must share a tool of the week this week, James, mustn't we?
Yes, you have an amazing tool. I think everyone's going to want to get this just now. Now, this is if you're interested in understanding which colors suit you. Kay's got a free step-by-step guide to working out your own color palette. You just go to mindoverfashion.com/know-your-colors. And that's the British spelling, COLOURS. Now, if you can't remember all of that, then just go to speakingbusiness.tv and you'll be able to get the links there. But just head over to mindoverfashion.com/know-your-colors, and you're going to get that amazing. Anything else you want to say, Kay, about that color palette they're going to be able to access?
It's a great tool because they give quite a few tips on how to work out your colors, and it's just try a few times, and the more you try, you will see the difference.
And any other final tips from UK as well?
I can talk all day about different things.
But yeah, and if you can't think of what to purchase for your partner, male or female, because you work with both men and women, as we know, Will Young and Jenson Button, organize a session with Kay, because it's wonderful. It gives you so much confidence, and I've got lots to wear. I can no longer say, and I've got a list because I've got a birthday coming up, so I've got a list of things for people that they can buy me clothes-wise. Yeah. I've also got a tool, James, actually, which I did not share last week.
What is it?
I've actually shared it before. I've shared it before, but I'm sharing it again because I stopped using it and I've started using it again. If you have background noise and interference going on and you are broadcasting, a great tool is Crisp with a K.ai, and you can use it. You can plug it into your wherever you're broadcasting. You can use it as your microphone, and it stops background noises. So you will have missed my dog barking during this session. You'll have missed my doorbell going in this session. You won't have heard any of that because I hope you haven't heard, have you?
No.
Oh, good.
It's amazing.
Because I've been using it's really good. And again, there's a link on the website. And James, over to you to wrap things up.
Well, Kay, thank you so much for coming on today. We're going to have all the links over in the show notes at speakingbusiness.tv. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next week. I don't know, Maria, who do we have on next week? Who's our guest for next week?
Oh, I don't remember. Don't do that to me.
It's going to be a surprise. It's a surprise to me as well. And remember, keep watching look at Hello Magazine, pick up some of those Grazia magazines. You might just see Maria in her paparazzi outfit that Kay's organized for her, like as she's walking a poodle along Kensington High Street.
He's a cotton de Tulare, actually. But yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Take care.